Hey, VCT Pacific fans, it's William Cho, one of the commentators and analysts, and I guess host on VCT Pacific. And this is what I'm going to call VCT Pacific Scoped In, where I'll be taking a closer look at some of the plays that happened during the weeks and matches here at VCT Pacific. Now, I know we're already near the end of the season, but you know what they always say, better late than never, so let's jump right into it. Today, we're going to take a look at RRQ's improvements and preparation against DRX, specifically on Haven. Now, the first thing we're going to take a look at today is round 9. And just in the next sequence of rounds, we can actually see the overall improvements of RRQ one by one. Before we jump into the round itself, it's important to remember that before round 9, RRQ has attacked C site in one form or another 6 times in the past 8 rounds, or in the first 8 rounds, rather. You know, sometimes they're rushing into C, sometimes they're starting with C and then rotating out, sometimes they're lurking into C, sometimes they eventually rotate over to C and plant, but C has been the focal point of 6 out of the 8 rounds before, so it's clearly been a big focus for them. Now, the reason they do this is most likely because they've studied that Buzz on the Killjoy oftentimes puts a lot of focus on setting up in Garage and C site on the side of DRX. Now, that is pretty common for a lot of Killjoys, but specifically for DRX, one of the reasons that happens is because they're now back to playing the Omen for Mako. And Omen has a tougher time than Astra on holding on to C site all on his own. So oftentimes there's a lot of support provided by the Killjoy, and some of the things that we see often from Buzz is, you know, like a turret here, to watch Garage, and then a Nano Swarm both here and here, or maybe here, just to cut off the entry point and buy time. Things like that. Now, of course, there are times where he sets up on B, but rarely does he ever set up on A site. And then the other thing to remember is DRX is a team well known for their various super clean A site retakes. So I gotta imagine that if you were RRQ, you're trying to avoid both, or you're trying to target what you know for sure you can break through, which is the Killjoy utility, versus do we really want to gamble against DRX's retakes on A? Okay, now watch how this plays out. Right away, 2GE puts up a fake smoke and he recalls a star. This allows the rest of his teammates to enter C long and get a couple members into Cubby as well. But look at what happens after that. Immediately, EJ puts up his own cloudburst while they flash on the right side so that they don't get picked off, right? So that they don't have anyone trying to spam through from the little platform here. And meanwhile, what you're going to see is EJ has already spotted this turret. So he's going to play against this turret from here on out. Cloudburst to cover the turret as well. He goes in, takes out the turret, so his teammates can now enter. What this has done, meanwhile, Buzz has been pinged in the back as well, and look at these pings coming out from RRQ. So this is all set up to take over the back of site. Now, Foxy9 with a heroic entry back into the site will allow them to secure backside, and eventually this turns into a incredible round win here from Stacks and Mako with some amazing double team crossfire setups. We know how this ends, right? DRX is just going to take this. They take out Elmimore. Now let's go back and watch this. We're going to actually watch this in slower speed here. So they spot the turret. One flash goes down. Nano Swarm to get rid of anyone on platform. And meanwhile, Fault Line now comes out towards the back of site. All of this, so Buzz, this is all for Buzz, right? And it also prevents anyone from entering for backup here. Now, what Foxy9 does really well is he actually puts up his own cloud burst here so that he doesn't get spammed from C long, so that he can dash in and support Buzz in the backup site. And I think that one move alone from Foxy9 saves this round quite handily. I mean, obviously DRX could have still done a nice retake otherwise as well, with the ultimates they would still have in the form of RB, but I think Foxy9 being able to not give up backside at all makes a huge difference here. One and done deal going into C site from RRQ, right? They even used the Hunter's Fury. We see that there's only 2 points left. Xfero, of course, got a kill off of that ultimate as well. The replay is going to play out. We'll skip over that. But now look at the setup again. RRQ is setting up for a fake. Now, they haven't done a hard fake all map long. 9 rounds so far. No hard fake here on the attacking side. But we can already tell these guys are hiding just to check if there's any sort of a aggression in mid. They don't want to get pinged by any sort of recon bolt over on the side of A. Still have a recon bolt looking to go into back site. We've got pings here and here. Check out how this plays out. All right, they dodge the recon bolt over on A, and immediately a cosmic divide. But look at the fault line as well. So, in fact, let's rewind that, okay? Right off the start, it's the same setup. So Foxy9 is trying to combat this, but it's the same setup. You put up a fake smoke, you recall it. Meanwhile, you have people trying to slide into Cubby. It's going to be Flipstrider, and he's getting into position. He puts up a flash as well. If we go back and watch this, it's on the right side, so Foxy9 can't dodge it. It's the same corner that it was in the previous round. So it looks like they're basically doing the exact same setup, right? Recon bolt's going to land at the back of sight. And then Flipstrider puts up a fault line that rides the cosmic divide. So basically it prevents anyone from trying to greed a kill peeking out of the cosmic divide, right? This stun gets rid of this entire section, basically telling DRX that you're going to have no idea what's happening in sight. The only thing DRX can now hope for is they put up Buzz activates his nanoswarm. That's going to buy them about 3 seconds. And then the smoke comes in from Mako. Now, before that, they even put up Astra, put up a Nova Pulse as well, just to check. Flipstrider's trying to keep an eye on that as well. So they're really selling this fake. Now, despite all of this, because DRX doesn't want to give up the site too easily, they're going to get ready to peek out, all right, because of the nanoswarm. Now, this is because they put up the smoke and their nanoswarm. They're like, okay, well, we can still hold on to back site. If we can take care of this area, not only will we gain, you know, our audio again because we'll be on the other side of the wall, but we'll be able to retake much more handily. But look at what happens. Another flash behind the crates. And then a spam comes through from Flipstrider. This flash on the crates as well, again, selling the idea that we do not want you crossing the cosmic divide. And I think this is a response to Mako's smoke coming up because Flips doesn't have vision anymore. But he gets the kill onto Buzz because that's right across the wall, right? And then he just continues to spam it because of the smoke. So he understands, Flips has a very good understanding of DRX's goals with this smoke. If they're still smoking this, despite our cosmic divide, DRX wants to hold on to backside. Meanwhile, the main force has been entering A site. Now, I believe RB has already heard this, so he repositions just to hold on to A short. The rest of the team now joining up afterwards. And RB actually has quite a heroic hold here. Gets 2, eventually gets taken down by EJ. And EJ is going to really try to fight back on this as Mako jumps down from the side as well. And throughout all of this, look at where Flips is, right? He was the last one on C long. He makes sure that there's no one further on the lurk, and then he just takes over B. And now Stacks has to go all the way back around. And look at the call coming in from RQ as well. They could have ran it to C, but because Flips hears no sound and he gets no contact on A link, the decision is made to come to B site, right? EJ checks C link on the way in. That way you can provide fast support coming in from Flips over on A link. They get the plant, and they will eventually win this round. An incredible setup and just great use of the previous rounds, right? Of constantly saying we like C site, we want to break into C site. This is what we're gonna do. But I think the way they sell that fake is quite impressive. But now there's still another point where RQ shows growth again. So they just invested Cosmic Divide. They took away the operator. They took away quite a few creds as well. So DRX not set up for a full buy here for really, quite frankly, anybody. All right, their economy is broken. So they know DRX is on an eco round. They are currently tied 5-5. They absolutely want this round. Ideally, they would not have to use their own lockdown because it would just get combated by RB's Hunter's Fury. Now look at how this round progresses. They start on a slow default, right? They don't want to get taken out by any sort of aggression. The recon bolt comes out on the A side. Nothing too surprising. Usual setup here. RRQ's just going to wait for any type of aggression. Now, they eventually don't spot anyone, so they want to be absolutely certain of the info they have. Send the drone in. It's going to get taken up by RB. You got to imagine that there's potential of someone being close by. So they try to make some noise. Even hear the fault line. They've already hidden from that. They had no intention of fighting in a lobby, right? They had no intention of fighting here until they had their own utility. They bait out the fault line. They bait out one of Mako smokes. They flash into it. They put up their own recon bolt. They send a shock dart in as well. They have invested a lot to make sure that the 3 members that they have info of, which is Jet, Breach, and Sova, are now stuck on A. Then they're going to rotate over. At 40 seconds, they say, okay, no reason to go into close quarters. We know 3 of them are on A side. Let's go on top of B. Now they're going to go for a plant here while they smoke out the back of site as well to make sure EJ has positioning, but they leave. Now, why do they leave? If you've been listening to the audio, here's what you'll hear. You're going to hear the spike plant get tapped, and immediately an aftershock comes in from A link. And look at the immediate response. They say abort. So they're continuing to confirm, okay, well, we knew the breach had fault lined here before. The aftershock still comes in from A side. That means he's still in A link. We do not know if anyone is in main or short. They do know that they're safe here in the window. So that means, in theory, based on the info they have, there are 3 people on the right side of the site and probably 2 on the left side. Now, they do not have the ability to push out of link, which is usually what you would want to do if you have the time to set that up so that you're not just getting sandwiched from all sides, but they're not able to do that. So now they've already planted EG in the back of site. They make noise leaving the site because they have the better weaponry, so they can just overpower whoever is here. As long as they don't just all get taken out at once with some shotguns, they should have a fairly simple time getting into C site, even with only 30 seconds left. Now, you can argue it's slightly risky, but here's the thing, is that they just have confidence that, again, as long as they stay grouped, opponent doesn't have, you know, something like a Phantom where they can just spray you down. We're going to be able to take over the site. And then on top of that, EJ and Elmimore get their kills on the lurk as well, so that just makes the job easy peasy. Foxy9 is the only one left alive, and they get another round win. That's 3 rounds in a row where they're chaining things based on what they've experienced from DRX the previous rounds and what RRQ has been doing in the previous rounds as well. Just an impressive setup here from RRQ. Well, that's all I had for today. I know it's a little bit short for the day. The goal for next week and the future is to get a little bit deeper into some of these plays, and of course I'll be picking out more than one play ideally per week. I know we only have 2 weeks left, but the second week left, and then we have playoffs actually, so 3 weeks, and then the second week left right now is Super Week, so we'll have plenty of matches, plenty of games to go through as well. So I don't think there's going to be any shortage of footage. And then of course, if I can get into a good habit of this, ideally I'll be taking my own take on some of the international tournaments as well, because my goal will be to keep up with those anyway. I might still be casting them on the Korean side. So I hope you guys liked what you saw. If you enjoyed it, if you'd like to see more, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notifications, all the usual. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Everything's at Will Chobra. But anyway, that's it for today. If there are any matches during the weekend where the matches are played that you would like to take a deeper look at, feel free to tweet those at me, right? Tell me which round, which match do you want to see again, and then maybe that's someone I'll cover next time here at VCT Pacific Scoped In with William Cho. I'll see you then.